going to do an entry looking at addiction and breaking free from addiction. I'm going to be doing doodle kind of drawings and watercolour. So the first thing I need to do is draw a hand, which are usually quite hard to draw, and that's going to be the hand that's going to be a puppeteer kind of hand. So I'm looking at a hand while I'm drawing this, but what I'd like to do is to break down the picture of the hand into shapes. So I just look at the hand and break it up into these different shapes. So yeah, so the arms, triangles are a good way to do the arms, and then also for the fingers, little triangles for the two parts that join. So I'm just going to go along and map it out with these triangles and these shapes, and then after that I'm going to go back over it and give it more of a rounded feel to it. But this is a great way that I find really helps to map out my hands, because I find hands really hard to draw when I'm doing Bible entries, or just in general anyway. Because this hand is going to be like a controlling hand, a puppet kind of master, I want it to look kind of scary, so I'm going to do very pointy nails and yeah, just make it look kind of scary, slendery looking fingers. But right now I'm just going back around those triangles and I'm making them feel more like fingers. So yeah, I'm just going back around all the shapes now, making them have a more hand-like feel. But the shapes really do help me to kind of act as a guide to make my arm and my hand. So now I'm just adding the strings onto the end of the fingers, and that's going to be the strings that would have controlled the puppet. So I'm just letting them dangle down from each finger. So as I said, I'm doing this on addiction and breaking free from addiction. The addiction I'm actually going to look at myself here is sugar. Now, it's not drugs or anything like that, but sugar is so addictive, and lately I've been watching various documentaries saying about how bad and detrimental sugar is to your health, which I always knew sugar was not great, but not to the same extent that, you know, the documentaries are saying. I would say I definitely have a sweet tooth, and yeah, so I've thought about it, and I actually am addicted to sugar, because when I want to stop eating sugar, yeah, I stop eating sugar for a couple of days, but then I always find myself having more sugar. So I decided that that wasn't good enough, and I am going to change. And this is off today, guys, so you'll have to have an update later. So I came across a Bible verse in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 12, and in the New Living Translation it says, because it's a bit easier to understand, "You may say, I'm allowed to do anything, but I replied, not everything is good for you. And even though I'm allowed to do anything, I must not become a slave to anything." So I was thinking about it, and addiction to sugar, I am a slave. If I'm addicted, it means I have to have it. So I know people who have been set free from drugs, set free from alcohol, and if God can do that for them, then He can definitely set me free from sugar and from cravings of sugary things. So as of today, I'm going to try and cut back my sugar take dramatically. So on my arm that I'm drawing right here, I'm doing a little doodle pictures of different sugary treats. So I've got ice creams, donuts, lollipops, a McDonald's shake that one of my friends brought over to our Bible journaling group today, churros, sugar cubes, miso soup. I love miso soup. But I was reading the ingredients, and there's like 12 grams of sugar per 100 grams. So I was shocked, because recommended in food it should be 5 or under grams. So I was like, what, miso soup? But that's salty. So I put some miso soup right at the top. Haven't got to that part yet. I've put little Skittles and M&Ms to fill up the gaps, and some lollies. So next what I'm doing is I'm going to draw a silhouette of me, or the girl who has been set free, or who used to be a puppet or enslaved to this hand of sugar. So I'm just going to do a little silhouette of a girl. So I'm just doing a profile of her nose on the side and some hair flowing out. And then I'm going to use the same method as I did with the hand and the arm. But this time I'm going to keep it kind of blocky to have a mannequin-y feel. So I'm going to do a torso, kind of like an upside down triangle without the tip. And I'm going to do the same thing in reverse, so a triangle without the tip for the bottom part of me. And then I'm going to do arms and legs made out of triangles. I'm going to make myself kneel, so I'm just going to do a triangle pointing to the ground as me going to my knees, and then a triangle going backwards as my legs to make me look like I'm kneeling. Lastly, I'm going to go over with my shimmery watercolours to give it kind of like a sparkly effect, because it is supposed to be a cool thing being set free. And I'm going to also use my Pitt pen to do little tiny strings going upwards, which are the severed strings. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around it with yellow shimmery watercolour to give it another set-free kind of appearance. And then I'm going to go back on my sugary arm and colour in all the sweet foods, the donuts, etc. So I also want to add some scissors to it, you know, cutting the strings. I guess the scissors could be a metaphor for Jesus or something. So I did draw scissors, as you can see to the left, but they looked hideous when I put my actual scissors on the page. So I decided to use my actual scissors as a guide and draw some more. To stick this to the page, I've used a really thin part of double-sided tape, just so I can still flip the scissors down and flip them up so I can read what is underneath it. So what I'm writing is, I will not be bound. Talking about how it's said in the Bible verse to not come under the power of anything, or not be the slave of anything. So yeah, that's just what I've written in my margin. For the will, I'm using my fake calligraphy technique. Feel free to look up how to do that on my calligraphy handwriting video. My last word, bound, is a really good example of the fake calligraphy because I've done it really large. You can see how I fatten out all the downward strokes and colour them in, so it's really easy to see how I do that in that word. So now I'm just dating it and signing it to say when I made this decision to try and drastically change my sugar input. And I'm just going over some finishing touches like the donut, sprinkles, etc. So that's basically my finished page. I really like how it turned out, and I hope you liked it too and got some kind of tips from it. Thanks for watching.